What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam. That over there is Mike DeFran. And you
Yup.
know, it's been a weird time.
Mhm.
So it's been a really weird, confusing few days. We've been just cranking out videos like they're Nicolas Cage movies. They're
Exactly.
just they're
Ex-
they just like you're like, I thought he just did another movie like 2 weeks ago.
except
And there's
except
another one out.
we're different than Nicolas Cage because we are no misses. Like Nicolas Cage, every once in a while, it's like, oh, that
What are you talking about?
one.
Nick Cage has no misses in his catalog.
Bro,
Nick Cage has no misses in his
I
catalog.
I bet.
National Treasure.
Okay, that's like saying, okay, no, that's not a miss,
No.
obviously. You see
I'm,
that
I'm
jujitsu movie
playing.
he was in?
I'm
That one
playing.
was
I
bad.
obviously know that he has like a stretch of like 50 god awful movies,
Yeah.
but Nick Cage is cool. So
Yeah.
what about Con Air, Mike? Con Air? No, but anyways, that's why you should subscribe, by the way, because a lot of people that have been watching have not been subscribed. So I recommend that if you like
Big
what
fan.
you're seeing, and this is a wild time, go ahead and subscribe. But today we're revealing kind of another new format. The last video that we uploaded was Drew Lock, was kind of me solo. Give my thoughts on Drew Lock. Does he have any upside as the QB1? What could he do? Could he potentially win us any games? And you guys seem to really like that kind of opinion-based rant, short little opinion format. So we're gonna be doing that now with two people. The way it's gonna work, we're each gonna come in. If we ever have a hot take on our mind, one of us has a hot take on our mind, we're gonna be like, we're gonna do this. The way it's gonna work, the person who has the hot take is gonna talk nonstop, 5-10 minutes, giving their points. And then the other person is not going to give so much as a rebuttal as their thoughts on our argument, whether they agree or disagree, whether they liked our points, etc. So that's going to be starting today. And it's going to be starting with a hot take from your boy. And this hot take is one that I think, especially in the Seahawks fan base that I tend to inhabit on social media, I think they will find this especially hot because, in my opinion, and this is my hot take, if everything clears and the man is innocent, trading for Deshaun Watson, even if he's innocent, will be the worst thing the Seahawks could possibly do. Here's why. My thought is that Deshaun Watson is going to probably cost more than Russell Wilson on a pure picks standpoint. It's probably 3 first-round picks minimum to get Deshaun Watson out because he is still, I believe, 26 years old. He's a multiple-time Pro Bowl quarterback with a long-term contract, which means that you haven't secured for a long time. It's going to be more expensive to get Deshaun Watson on a full scale of picks to get than it was for the Broncos to trade for Russ. My point is that if you're clearly heading for a rebuild, you just got rid of your two best players, being your franchise quarterback and your first ballot Hall of Fame middle linebacker, who's just coming off an incredible season. My point is that if you're going to clearly make a move towards a rebuild and gain picks, while just 3 days ago, you were a team that virtually had no picks, had very little to go around, had no first round picks, had a limited majority, and you just got a ton of picks. Why would you give them all away immediately after you got them and package in more picks to get Deshaun Watson? I don't like that idea at all, just because of the thought that you just got all these picks. You're clearly heading towards a rebuild. Just don't give away more picks to get a quarterback, and this is my second point, that you still won't be very good with. This is a roster that is not that talented. It's not like we're a Broncos or a Washington where it's like, oh, if we get a quarterback on this team, this is a 10, 11 win team that can maybe get into the playoffs. It is not at all like that. We have a defense that is virtually in shambles after losing its leader. Now you have no corners. You have very weak edge talent, maybe besides Darrell Taylor. And you're talking about an offense that doesn't have a franchise quarterback, that has no blindside left tackle, and has a running back room that is currently in a little bit of disarray. Adding Deshaun Watson to this team is not, oh, this is it. 12 wins. Now we're Super Bowl contenders. If we trade for Deshaun Watson, we're going to be probably at best a 9-win football team, and you're inheriting that contract, thus prohibiting us from potentially going out in free agency and signing a few guys to put around him. That's also my third point. That contract is horrendous, is frankly horrendous for a team in the state that we are in, where we're just like, hey, we just got all of this money off our shoulders, trading Russ, trading Bobby. We just got all of this money off our shoulders, and now we're going to bring it all back in by trading for Deshaun Watson. It does not make a lot of sense to me. And frankly, he still has lawsuits that are not passed yet and will probably take a very long time to get passed, even if he doesn't have criminal charges. I don't think you want that kind of clouding your locker room. And, I just don't think that it's the path that the Seahawks need to go in. If you just got rid of your two best franchise cornerstones, you just got rid of them. You're sitting here with a boatload of picks, with a fair amount of young talent on the roster, and with about $50 million in cap space to spend potentially on a few guys to boost up the roster to at least make your team watchable. I don't see the point of going out. I see it more reasonable to take a Malik Willis with the 9th overall pick than to go out and package in all these assets, package in everything we have to go out and get a Deshaun Watson kind of player. It frankly doesn't add up to me. That's kind of my argument. 4 points right there. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I think you made some good points. I think the biggest point that I agree with is that Deshaun Watson is not going to make this team a Super Bowl team, right? We still have a big holes at edge rusher, corner still a question mark, running back's a question mark,
and
wide receiver, linebacker's a question mark. I would even say wide receiver, because who knows what's going on with DK now, if he wants to re-sign. So we have a lot of holes on this team, and now we have a lot of picks. And ideally, that's how we're going to fill those holes. Now, Deshaun Watson, I agree with you, would be more expensive than Russell Wilson because he's younger. You have his contract for more years. You know what I mean? And obviously, he's a very good quarterback. I agree with that point totally. I also agree with the point that you said, even if he's cleared criminally, he's going to have lawsuit charges. And just for a culture, locker room sake, I think that's bad. That's bad for your football team to have your starting quarterback in legal trouble of some sort, right? I do agree with that. And I also agree with your point that you said we should probably go for a quarterback in this draft or next year's draft that we can grow and develop, because I think a good quarterback on a rookie contract is the most valuable thing in sports and football. Mm-hmm. That's what we had when we won the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson was making pennies, and that's how we could, afford the Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch, quality offensive line at that time. So that's I think the way to go. And we're seeing that with a lot of other teams. Mahomes had his rookie contract when he won his Super Bowl. A lot of things like that. So I agree with you on those points. However, my only pushback would be that I think Deshaun Watson has proven throughout his career with the Texans that he can uplift a subpar team. Let's not forget that his last, time in the playoffs with a bad Texans team with one superstar wide receiver, which we have in DK Metcalf. I mean, they were up 24 against the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? He has an ability similar to what Russ had to will his teams to victories. And, our division is very, very good. So if you want to take the perspective of, okay, tank for a year or two, stockpile picks, get a top 5 pick, whatever, that's fine. But if you're, going to want to compete the next 2-3 years, Deshaun Watson is your best option, I think. I'd say overall, though, I would agree with you. I would not want to trade for Deshaun Watson unless we can get him really, really cheap. Like if we're talking a first rounder.
Like if the Texans want to offload him for like a first rounder or like a first, I'm not even sure if I would want to give 2 picks for him after the Russ trade.
I mean, give
not that he's not worth it. That's not really what I'm saying. Obviously, I think Deshaun Watson is worth more than 2 first round picks.
Right.
But my argument is that I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to give up more than 2 first-round picks.
I could
for
see
Deshaun
that.
Watson.
I could see that. And again, I agree with your point also. If you're going to trade away Russell Wilson and cut Bobby Wagner, you're rebuilding. And so I think you got to just tear it all down, start fresh, draft a new quarterback, use your draft picks that you have now. So I would agree with you that I don't think, unless it's, again, a really cheap deal, I don't think that trading for Deshaun Watson is a good solution for the Seahawks' newfound quarterback problems. So I would agree with you on that. I would not want Deshaun Watson to be traded to Seattle. Although, regardless of if we want it or not, I've been hearing that they are very interested. And I know
I've been hearing that
well,
they're at least going to look into it. They're at least going to,
they're going to look
but it
into
seems
it.
like they always feel around in these kind of things. They always call and say, hey, what's up with this guy? And if they're like, well, he's going to cost this much, and like, that's too much, then you hang up the phone. That's exactly what happened with Jadeveon Clowney when we were just like, hey, what's up with Jadeveon?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to trade him? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? So, that happened. But
right.
yeah,
I would say probably something similar happened with Jamal. You know what I mean? Hey,
probably,
what do you guys want for Jamal? Oh, 2 first rounders? Bet.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah,
though that
so-
trade is not aged very well. But that's kind of my perspective on it. I heard he has a legal hearing or something tomorrow or today for you guys watching.
So the main investigator is presenting their case in front of a grand jury, and the grand jury, which is reportedly very fast in Texas, it could probably get done in a day. The grand jury is going to hear the evidence and decide whether or not to press charges on Deshaun Watson, which I would say out of all the cases, it's almost impossible that there's not at least one even minor charge that slips
he has
through.
what, like 27 allegations?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're only investigating like 8 or 9 cases, I thought, or something like that. I don't think they're investigating
only 8 or 9. Yeah, only 8 or 9 cases.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like
right,
like
but like still only 8. They're only investigating for 8 or 9. Yeah, no, that's
so. Yeah, and once again, talk about culture. Go from Russell Wilson to this guy who just got just got out of court. It's not ideal. So that's my opinion. We want to hear your opinion in the comments below. Give your thoughts. Give your, just what you think about what we said. What do you think about Deshaun Watson potentially being the next quarterback of the Seahawks? Which I kind of hate to say, in my opinion, but it's a fair possibility. I mean,
it's
I'm not
definitely not
say,
out of the realm of possibility. No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I wouldn't say is probable or maybe even like likely, but it's something
I give it like 15% chance.
I give like a 15 or 10% chance. Yeah. So yeah, give your thoughts. Subscribe, leave a like, ring that bell, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.